Hey, Coach, the starting quarterback, has he been told he's starting?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the thought process? You wanted him to have it in his head a few days in advance to
Yeah,
start?
we've told the team. We announced it to the team.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I wanted the team to know so we don't go out on the practice field and the defense is over there going, all right, why wouldn't Coach let us know? So, but we told them we didn't want it out on social media, so they did a really good job of keeping it from you guys.
Is that today?
No, that was on, our team meeting was on Monday.
Hey, Coach. Is a part of the reason why you and Coach Denbrock are so intent on using one tight end in your offensive sets is because of just how those guys can maybe help out the offensive line as blockers a little bit?
No, I mean, I think, the tight end obviously becomes, part of the blocking scheme, but, it offers you just more versatility in the run game, play action pass. Certainly, when you get into four wide sets, you lose that surface area that gives you the ability to chip the edge and, hold off a defensive end. It's just the versatility of your offense. I think you lose a lot in my experience. So I think versatility on the offensive side of the ball, the ability to, create some double teams on the edge to really strike on a much broader front relative to where you want the ball to hit. So I just think flexibility and tactically, it just gives you more advantages.
Yeah, Brian, right here. Have you, I guess, last-minute details, is there anything that's nagging at you or any questions you think I really need to see this answered in a hurry in the game?
No. This is really going to be about how we manage our emotions, how we handle either being down or ahead, adversity, things like that. This is really about putting a team in a competitive situation and really finding out about how they handle real competition. They haven't they haven't won a lot of games and haven't done it consistently over a couple of years. So they're going to be put in that kind of situation where they're going to have to choose confidence. They're going to have to stay in a real good zone and not have highs and lows. So that will be the real question that you don't answer until you play the game.
Brian, is there anything you remember from preparing for your very first game as a head coach that is kind of amusing, or I can't believe I did that. I was such a kid back then. And after doing this so many years, is there something that's still the same about it in terms of the excitement or the anticipation for you?
Oh, yeah. I told the team, I mean, what I love about this is the preparation. Monday through Friday, I'm nervous every day, wanting to make sure that I've prepared my football team in every aspect so they can be the best versions of themselves and a team. And so that's my why. That's what drives me. And so when it comes to Saturday, there's no doubt what's going to happen, And so that to me hasn't changed. And once it gets to the point where practice is not exciting for me and the preparation is not exciting for me, I'll walk away. But that to me is what drives me. My very first game as a head coach, I was 29 years old, and I can tell you that there were maybe 800 people in the stands. And we got behind early, and I could hear, the people in the press box, not the stands. I could hear the people in the press box who hired me. So that was a real situation. So hopefully I won't hear the people in the press box here at Tiger Stadium. So that would be a nice thing.
I think it was me. Brian, at cornerback with the options that y'all have, what's that rotation going to look like here in games between Jarek, Mackay, Seven, and
So Jarek's going to be to the field. We think he's a field corner. He plays really smart and savvy to the field. He can handle multiple receivers. He just has a really good sense of field awareness, so he'll be to the field. Kobe's going to be boundary. Makai can play both sides, so he's going to be our swing guy. And you know, the nice part about 7 is that, you know, he can play a little bit of both as well. So I think it's really going to be about keeping him fresh and seeing who's playing really well. I think the most experienced and veteran player that we have in Power 5 football is Jarek. And then those other guys we're going to keep in a really good rotation.
Coach, I was reading about Florida State's defense and the Fox player and the stunts that they tend to run. What sort of challenges does that pose to a young offensive line and a new quarterback?
Well, I mean, Florida State's extremely athletic. They have 2 really big inside defensive tackles that are going to be a challenge to move out of there. Athletic on the edge. But we knew this. You know, this is something that, you know, we knew, you know, when we were, you know, self-scouting way back in May. So this isn't anything new to us. We've prepared for it. You know, some of the things that we're going to have to do really well are really about ourselves, more so than Florida State. You know, our execution in terms of the offensive line is going to be based upon our ability to, you know, run the ball. And look, you're not going to outrun this defense. I mean, they can move sideline to sideline really well. We've got to find opportunities to, you know, crease them and you know, be in a good position that way.
Hey, Coach, you recently announced as team captain for this upcoming season. What specific skills and leadership do you see in each one of those 3 players that are going to help you guys win this season?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think what you look for in captains is the ability, you know, for us to communicate really well. They're really good communicators of, you know, our process and what we do every day. They've been very consistent in that. So there's been that consistency, and they're really committed. And so that kind of, you know, that showed amongst their teammates. And so we had our teammates vote, and they were the highest vote getters. Sometimes I don't have our team vote. I decide. I felt like this team needed to weigh in because they knew the leaders a little bit better. They had been around them longer, so I let this group weigh in on it and went with what they felt was the best captains that would obviously be their voices.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Just, I guess, kind of following up on communication, but just in terms of play calling, you know, from booth to sideline to the field, just how pleased have you been with that, I guess, with your coaches and players to this point?
Yeah, that is not going to be the issue. The signaling is always the thing that you concern yourself with because signaling becomes detached from, you know, the coaching staff, right? So you've got your 15, you know, on headset. You've got your 3 that are listen only, and then you've got your 4 that are now, you know, student athletes, you know, or student assistants. So the 4 is the tricky part. You know what I mean? And so you worry much more about that. And I'm not worried, but that's the one that you spend so much more time with because you've got 2 on offense and 2 on defense. And we think we've picked 4 really good guys. One of them is a quarterback, you know, on offense, and 2 on defense are guys that we really, really trust. Hunter Faust and Lane Blue are going to be signalers, and we trust them implicitly. So, you know, you really work hard on getting guys that you trust, and that gets you to your allotment.
Just to follow up my own question, Coach, how do you feel about your tight ends as sort of helpers in the passing game as blockers or even in the run game as blockers?
Improved. I have no. Look, I will tell you that I was not impressed where we were when I got here. I feel really good about where we are right now, and Mason Taylor has obviously done a pretty good job of making me feel that way. Cole's done a really good job there too. I think those two guys in particular have made me feel better about that situation. The freshman is really, really going to be a fine football player. And I think the combination of the four of them, Jack's done a really good job, and then Nick Storrs has helped us out a lot too, is much more of a physical guy. So, there's 4 tight ends there where we didn't know if we had one. So that's making a lot of progress in a very short period of time. Good? All right, thank you.